hello from me and the boy. He's sleeping with his eyes open, which is both kind of scary and really cute. So yes, I have just finished playing Dark Souls Remastered. We've just watched the lore video that Vati did, and now we're on to the Prepare to Cry series. If you are interested in watching this video, please click on Vati's original series. I'm gonna link the playlist that I'm watching as a card on the video and in the video description. This was requested, but I know that a lot of people really don't like this kind of thing, so please go click on the original playlist and let it play as you watch this. If you hate this kind of thing, I'm very sorry, but it was really highly requested, and I am just gonna watch it in my own time anyway, so I thought I might as well just watch it with everyone and just tell you all what I think about it anyway. So yeah, without further ado, let's just play the video.
My mother, the Witch of Izalith, was one of the primeval lords. Her power came from the soul that she found near the first flame. She focused this power to light a flame of her own. But she failed to control it. The flame of chaos engulfed Mother and my sisters and molded them into deformed creatures. Only I escaped, and now I am here. My mother, my sisters, what have you done?
Whoa.
Long ago, we thought...
Whoa! 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 I love the music! This sounds really cool! Is the Bed of Chaos the Witch of Izalith? Why did I not put that together before? Or is the witch the little grub we found inside the Bed of Chaos? Or is she the big tree that was like protecting it? Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Who is speaking? Is that someone we find in game? I'm sure my questions will be answered. Let's just play.
Long ago, we thought the Chaos Flame was born of desperation. A flame created to replace the fading First Flame and to secure the Age of Fire for the Lords. We were wrong. Izalith's flame was a flame of ambition, for the First Flame gave life, and Izalith believed that her soul could replicate this power. And she was right, but not in the way that she expected. For when the witch and her 7 daughters huddled together and focused their power, chaos was born. Their flame spiraled out of control, engulfing the women and the city of Izalith. And during this period of instability, the very worst demons were born.
Oh,
Soon
no.
after, the witch clearly wrested chaos under control, becoming the Bed of Chaos at the heart of the new city. On that
that's
day,
her.
Izalith learned a set of core truths. First, that her power has limits. Second, that fire is to be feared. And third, that grotesque, parasitic life is still life.
So that parasite is what she created? And then everything was birthed out of that? Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. It never clicked to me that she was the Bed of Chaos, but you can see the figure there.
The first daughter we meet is Quelaag.
Ooh.
She is described by her soul as a perfect creation of chaos. And we
Having
see
an
this
amazing
in her
chest.
movements. Note how she affectionately caresses her demon half, how she smiles with contentment, and how she embraces her parasite.
Huh.
Ah, a precious new sacrifice. The children of chaos are hungry. Give yourself to Quelaag's flame.
A steady stream of undead are attempting to ring the second bell of awakening, making this the perfect place for a daughter of chaos to nest. For chaos, just like the first flame, thrives off of humanity.
Ooh.
Those who defy the pact, those who trespass Quelaag's domain, may you feel the depth of our wrath.
She speaks of a pact, but a clueless undead can have no knowledge of this. To us, Quelaag is just another foe who blocks our path. But she was so much more than that.
Okay.
Oh dear, what have we here? Are you a new servant? But You have no eggs. Ah, no matter. Go along and have audience with our fair lady.
Oh, bless
Except
him.
if you lay a hand on the fair lady, you should be prepared to face my wrath.
Quaylag, my dear sister, what is it? Don't mind me. It does not hurt terribly. Your visit's out more than anything. I'll be fine.
Oh god, look at her.
I have you, dear sister. But promise me that you will take care of yourself.
I never got
Fair
to hear her
Lady
speak.
is the second daughter of Chaos we meet, but she's not much longer for this world.
Oh,
Blind,
no.
ailing, and unfeeling, she subsists on offerings of humanity that her sister Quaylag once brought to her. With the old witch's
then we
ring
stopped that.
in our possession,
Oops.
the Fair Lady understands us.
So we needed the old witch's ring. So does she think that we're her sister? That's why she's talking that way?
And since Quaylag was the only remaining one capable of speaking to her, you must be her sister.
Oh.
I still remember your beautiful, silky face. If
Oh.
I could gaze upon it once more.
Oh, that's
Is
sad.
something troubling you?
You're making me sad.
Sister, do not cry. I am happy, really.
Oh, do we cry?
I have you,
Wow.
don't I?
Not anymore.
You speak the tongue of the fair lady? In all honesty, I am envious. What comfort can I offer without speaking her tongue?
This egg-burdened undead was once a renowned pyromancer. He
Ooh.
developed spells of toxic and poison mist, which are considered to
Oh.
be terrible heretical spells. These pyromancies earned him exile, followed by a terrible infection, and then led to a chance meeting with the Daughter of Chaos.
Worse than undead, we are diseased and unwanted like the grime of the great swamp. But my dear fair lady, she cried for me and swallowed the great blight pus, despite Mistress Quaylag's orders to the contrary.
These two Daughters of Chaos
Oh,
care
no.
really deeply about their offspring, and in the Fair Lady's case, even for the undead that carry those offspring. But without the humanity that her sister brought her, she and her children will die.
Oh god, and I did that. Oops.
My dear sister, the
Oops.
eggs, it hurts. They've gone still. I am
no.
afraid it may be too late. I am so sorry, dear sister.
Luckily, Ingi
Oh,
does
no.
not yet know that Mistress Quaylag is dead.
Oh,
He
good.
shares his flame with you, which
Oh,
is
good.
a deeply personal act for a pyromancer,
Oh, wow.
because the flame is a part of himself.
You have served our fair lady well. Now, let this strength be yours.
Before there were pyromancies, there were fire sorceries. And then, when the Witch of Izalith shared her flame with her daughters, pyromancy came to be.
Oh, we get to learn about pyromancy now. That was what I chose. I feel like I didn't use it enough. It was really handy, but I still get confused on the origin story of it, so this will be really interesting.
Unlike sorcery, which requires a certain intellect, pyromancy is this personal, primal art, rooted
Oh,
in
it's
this
cool.
desire to hold and control fire. And then it's refined by the acceptance that true control is impossible.
Pyromancy is the ultimate fantasy. We are born into dark and warmed by fire, but this fire we cannot touch. Those whose fascination with fire persists learn to hold it in their own hand.
And so, humanity took really well to this ancient art, passing down knowledge from a daughter of chaos herself.
Ooh.
Have you heard of Lost Quelana, an inhuman witch who wanders the poisoned swamp? Only no one has ever seen her. So who
Me neither.
Really knows. But what if she is another of the Quelaag sisters? Our fair lady would be greatly comforted by her presence.
A mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift.
I
You
never
too
saw
are
her.
who seeks my pyromancy.
Quelana is the eldest daughter of Chaos, and she's the furthest one from home. It's thanks to her that mankind became so attuned to pyromancy.
Pyromancy is
Wow.
the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
Interestingly, Quelana refuses to teach the chaos pyromancy of her homeland, instead opting for the more refined pyromancies to come. Fire Whip, an effort to control that which cannot be controlled.
Ooh.
Firestorm, which displays the
Ooh.
indescribable horror of flame. And, perhaps most importantly, Rapport, an advanced spell of Quelana that uses fire to lure the living, making them a temporary ally.
Wow, cool. I never found that either.
I have a favor to ask. I abandoned my mother and sisters and fled to this land, but my mother and sisters have been in anguish since. I beseech you, free mother and my sisters from the flame of chaos. I cannot do it myself.
What, killing
Have
them?
the strength and the bravery. But you, I realize what I am asking. But please, free their poor souls. Mother's ambitions were
they're
misguided, no
tortured.
doubt. But surely 1,000 years of atonement is enough.
Quelana believes her family has been in penance for 1,000 years.
She does look like
Death
she's in
will
pain.
be their only comfort. But is this true? Will you take the word of a woman who's afraid to face her own demons? The flame of chaos is not as evil as Quelana would have you believe. How could it be, when it motivated an entire developed civilization? Izalith's architecture is inspired by chaos. Its first demons are considered priests. The Capra is capable of taming animals. There were embers of chaos used for smithing. There is a written language, a spoken language. This is not really a place that was ruined because of chaos. It's a place that became defined by it. And it's all thanks to Mother Izalith. If it was Izalith's goal to create a flame of life, then she succeeded.
She did
The
it.
two younger sisters and the mother can be found in the depths of Izalith at its lowest point, where demons are born. This seedbed of life is called the Bed of Chaos. It's actually comprised of 3 family members. Flanking on the sides are 2 enchanted, fleshy mounds, connected to the center with staves. Staves that look awfully like the Izalith staff, seen in the beginning, where 2 sisters flank the mother in the center, which makes the center of the Bed of Chaos Mother Izalith herself. Her control is evident by virtue of our ability to undo it, because if you take out a sister on the side, then the heart of chaos breaks free. So, if chaos was under control, what happened to Izalith?
Wait, that's right. They're holding it. The parasite is the flame of chaos, right? And if the 3 of them have sacrificed themselves to contain it, then why is the rest of the city in ruins? Did all the people turn into demons?
Well, war.
War?
Despite Izalith's aid in Gwyn's war against the dragons, the Lord of Light turned his ire to the creatures of chaos.
Oh
Did
no.
he feel threatened by these
Oh.
monsters?
Oh no.
Did he consider chaos to be this affront to the integrity of divine flame?
Doesn't he use
To
demons?
say for sure. For this war, he commissioned an elite order of warriors who became known as the Black Knights. Their oversized weapons were designed to deal with their oversized foes.
For
and
chaos
their loyalty
demons.
to Gwyn was so fierce that they would later follow him into the kiln of the first flame.
Damn.
If there ever was a time for Quelana to slip away and leave, it would be now, during the war. Her family must have thought that she died, for upon an altar, dressed upon an unrecognizable corpse, is a gold-hemmed set that says it was once worn by Quelana of Izalith. So not only does this suggest that she faked her death, it suggests that she couldn't bear to have her family know about her desertion.
Wait, so I never found her in my playthrough. Can you actually find her then? And then realize that the corpse with her set isn't her? That's so cool. God, when I watch these videos, I'm like, I barely scratched the surface of this game in my playthrough, damn it. So her set was guarded by the ceaseless discharge, right?
This news of her death would have hit no one harder than her brother. This giant is a being of ceaseless discharge,
Oh!
born alongside the worst demons when the Chaos Flame was still unstable.
Oh, he doesn't really
To
unhappy.
soothe his lava-inflamed sores, his witch sisters gave him a special orange charred ring, which, fool that he is, he accidentally dropped. He would never receive another, and so he spent the rest of his days in pain, oblivious to everything around him. Everything
That's so
except
sad.
to his sister Quailana.
Oh.
Desecrate her corpse, and he would literally throw away his life to punish you. So strong is the love for his family.
Oh, we pissed him off. Big time. Oi, 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 oi. Oh, he's like a big cow. Oh, the music and everything is so good in this video. It's very exciting to watch.
Leaving her family may well have been the worst decision Quailana could have made. For, in a move that she could not have predicted, Gwyn stopped short of annihilating the demons entirely. Izalith, after all, was already broken, referred to by many as the obsolete capital of chaos. In return for their miserable lives, and along with a promise to never leave Izalith, it appears that Gwyn received a swarm of demonic troops for his own army. Stray demons guard the asylum. Lesser Batwing demons became the messengers of the gods, and a white-winged demonic lion watches over the sanctuary of Ulasil. So it was that the family of Chaos survived. Quailana deserted them all. It's likely Quailana didn't expect her sisters to survive the war, but now that they have, she becomes stuck in this awkward state of limbo. She cannot return, for she disgraced and abandoned her family, and yet, nor can she bring herself to fully leave either. Instead, she sits as close to chaos as possible, punishing herself with this endless wandering through a poison swamp.
Wow,
She
so could I
watches
just
on,
stumble
so
on her?
close to her tormented family, and yet, given her survivor's guilt and her cowardice, she might as well be miles away. Which is a shame, because Quailana could truly be a comfort to her remaining family, especially to the fair lady, to her brother, and to her mother.
The Witch of Izalith, please, do not speak of her. I abandoned my mother and sisters, and fled to this land. Now I roam these parts, feigning ablution and pretending to seek answers.
Finally, after 1,000 years of survivor's guilt, she meets us. Someone who can finally break the stalemate. She lacks the strength,
We go and kill them all.
the bravery, and we have a lord vessel to fill.
You would betray us, I should have known. My dear fair lady.
Well, I didn't kill the fair lady.
Danger.
Oh no. Oh no.
What was that?
Oh no.
Something troubling you.
I didn't do this.
Quaylag, but why?
Why, you monster!
Oh, this is horrible.
What have you done? What have you done?
They gave everything to wrest chaos under
But I did do
control.
this.
They ignited a culture. They displayed that they could
Barely.
control their parasites, and even that having a parasite at all is a choice to serve chaos. And we undo it all. We rip the sisters' shackles from chaos, and despite the mother's feeble attempts to sort of swat us away, we finally put an end to Mother Izalith herself.
Outstanding. You have done very well. Thank you. I am blessed to have met you. Please take this. It is all of me.
We fed Quelana's ignorance. She never got to see her brother mourn her for centuries. She likely never knew that her sister poisoned herself for the good of the wretched. Did she know that a dark wraith was squirreling away humanity for his fair lady? That her mother was doubled over in pain for centuries to contain chaos? Survivor's guilt
Who's the dark
is a
wraith?
real traumatic condition, and it led to the death of her family. Eons afterwards, the effects of all of this are still felt. Without the mother, chaos rises again, unbridled, in a city called
really?
Alea Mois, until a powerful king and queen sacrifice themselves to contain it once again.
Oh
And even
no.
later still, towards the end of the world, surrounded by mountains of dead demons, an old demon king gives up the vestiges of chaos in one final effort to fight for his species. There is only one silver lining to this tale. It's that deep within the long-forgotten ruins, past the last surviving offshoots of the demon race, and behind an illusory wall, lies the corpse of Quelana, curled up to the fair lady. She finally found the strength to return home.
Aww. Is there something we can just stumble on? Oh, I'm gonna have to try and find that. I don't know what game that is in, but that's very sad. This actually made me feel quite sad, this video. God damn. I bloody loved that video. That was so cool. It's so interesting to learn about them. This person wrote, Mother Isolith's attempts to swat us away were quite effective. Thank you very much. That's so funny. So, we have Quelana, the Fair Lady, the two either side, the Witch of Isolith, and then there are two unaccounted for? Unless the one on the altar is counted. They just thought it was Quelana, but it actually wasn't her. Then there's one more. Unless the Witch of Isolith is the last one. Oh, it's so sad that she curled up to her sister's body. That really got me. Okay, what's up next? Legend of Artorias. The Abyss Walker. My favorite fight in the game. My favorite boss for sure. I'm very excited to watch this one. Okay.
In Gwyn's Age of Fire, there were 4 knights who distinguished themselves above all others. First, there was Hawkeye Goth, who fought in the
my
first war
friend.
against the dragons. He exulted in the thrill of the hunt, plucking dragons out of the sky with his enormous greatbow.
Oh, that scene was so cool. Oh, it was so
Soon,
cool.
the only dragons left were in his memories, which he revisited endlessly. Fighting on the ground was Ornstein, the dragon slayer. He wielded a long lightning cross spear that could be
his
stamped deep
armor.
into a stone dragon's hide. Its curious
I
design
really wanted
went
it.
on to remind many of an exiled god of war, though none of them dared to speak his name.
That looks
And
like
then there was
Gwyn's
Kidan,
crown.
whose talents differed considerably from the previous 2. A stealthy assassin, she would have been no match for dragons, and so
Okay.
she must have killed for Gwyn in the Age of Fire to follow. She dazzled her foes with streaks of gold in the night,
Her
and then
face looks
stung
like a
with the vicious
doll.
poison of her silver tracer. But in the Age of Man to come, none were as well equipped as the great knight Artorias. For nothing, not dragons, nor disunity, nor even his enemies, frightened Gwyn like the dark. The dark soul of man filled the Lord of Light with fear, for one day, Gwyn knew, the fire would fade, and humanity would inherit the world. His world.
He's trying to
So
put it
while
off
he
as long as
still had
possible.
time and power, Gwyn began to rig the world in his favor. Mankind had stood amongst those who set out to slay the ancient dragons, and, as if in thanks, Gwyn bestowed upon pygmies and men the Ringed City, an enormous, gilded city located at World's End.
Ooh.
The walls were as tall as mountains, and above them soared Medea, an immortal archdragon that was raised by the gods. Below slumbered Gwyn's youngest daughter, the Princess Filianore, a woman of enormous faith and power, who Gwyn
I
gave
thought-
up to protect the pygmies until the very end of the
Oh.
world.
Wait, I need to pause. I thought he only had 3 kids. Guinevere, Gwendolyn, the lost child. We had a fourth? Maybe she doesn't count because he gave her up then? Why does she have an egg? Oh god, I feel like this is getting kind of spoilery. I have no idea what game this is from. But it's fine, I wouldn't have understood if I had just seen it in game.
And at first glance, you might think these acts benevolent. You might think they were kind. But in the end, it
What
was
were
just
they
a trick of
for?
the light. The walls were not for protection. The dragon had an eternal duty to battle the dark. And Gwyn's daughter, Filianor, would never see her father again.
Oh no. Wait, is Filianor the lost child? Maybe then he did have 3. Okay, sorry, I got confused. Anyway, carry on.
The purpose of the Ringed City was not to protect the holders of the original Dark Soul. It was to imprison them, like a ring of fire that encircles the darkness of humanity.
And the dark
And
sign.
man was, in fact, branded with this very seal, the Dark Sign.
Huh.
And despite clear evidence of their heroism in the war against the dragons, their Dark Knights never were lauded for their service. So
No.
it's no wonder, then, that in all of the spellcraft and the hexes that stem from humanity, one thing remains constant. It craves a free will of its own, and it writhes against its shackles. Perhaps the first example of this was the Mad King. He was pygmy royalty, and he rebelled against the light. We
I know
have
who
no
this
idea
is.
what crimes he committed.
I don't know who
Must
this
have been
is.
Terrible.
La 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 la, show skip it a little bit. I don't know who that is. Oh, there's a chapter called Human Cities.
There were, of course, other human cities outside of the Ringed City. One such example was the Dark City of New Londo, which was governed by 4 human kings and protected by Knights of the Dark Blade. The kings were renowned for their foresight, and they even had fragments of Gwyn's very own soul bestowed upon them, so that they could better govern their people. Of course, this too was another trick of the light, for what lies at the top of New Londo but Filing Shrine, a place of undead sacrifice to Gwyn's Age of Fire. So no human city was permitted to flourish without a clear benefit to the Age of Fire.
Right,
There was
right.
no better example of this than another human city called Uldasil, which was the golden land of
Uldasil.
light sorceries. Light, it turns out, can be manipulated to foster illusions. It can hide your intentions, it can even mess with the fabric of time. And spells of this nature would be of great value to the gods in the coming years, so Uldasil flourished, an exemplary city for
Okay.
Gwyn's pantheon, because it was proof that humanity could be taught to serve their interests. And so it was that a group of missionaries from Uldasil embarked upon the Ringed City, perhaps to preach and reinforce the power of the light in this dark city. One of these missionaries was called Half-Light, and he was a talented individual who was wielding the powerful artifacts of his homeland. He would go on to earn the favor of Filianor, and he would even earn the legendary dragon weapon of Medea. So it was no surprise
Ooh.
that Half-Light elected to stay behind, becoming the last recorded spear of the church. And just as Half-Light visited the Ringed City and even stayed behind, the reverse was also true of a certain pygmy from the Ringed City. This pygmy's name was Manus, and while we know nothing about the nature of his visit to Uldasil, we do know one thing: he died there, and the body of primeval man, of Manus, was put to rest far, far beneath the
Oh,
city
in the
itself,
grave.
out of the light and out of mind. We don't know much about Manus, and a lot is left to the imagination.
Okay.
What we do know is that he was a pygmy far from home. He was a part of a race that Gwyn was doing everything in his power to suppress, and when you think on Manus's fate, it's kind of hard to imagine that Gwyn didn't have a hand in it, especially since Gwyn had an order of assassins, the Lord's Blades, in his employ. The leader of the Lord's Blades was Kidan, the Hornet. It stated that she laid waste to Gwyn's enemies, and of course, there's no proof that the Lord's Blades actually killed Manus, but you could also argue that that's rather the point of assassins, isn't it? Whatever the case, the tide was turning. Mankind was struggling against the world order, and even New Londo, which was once a haven for undead, had turned into a hideous spawning ground for the Abyss and its dark wraiths. At the heart of this uprising was a serpent named Karth, who swayed the four kings and taught its undead knights how to pillage back their humanity.
Ooh,
Some descriptions even say the Dark Wraiths became the most human of all, but to others,
the Dark Wraiths are the enemies of man and any living thing that has a soul.
So as the age of man crept ever closer, yet another Knight of Gwyn appeared, perfectly equipped to face it, the great Knight
man, look at
Artorias.
him.
With a greatsword weighted to strike harder against servants of the dark, a great wolf who defined their fighting style, and a covenant with the beasts of the abyss, Knight Artorias and Sif defiantly faced the worst of mankind. Yet, in the end, the terror that was the Dark Wraiths could only be stifled with the sacrifice of their entire city.
They
Such
flooded
was the
it.
power of their four kings and
Damn.
the resilience of their abyss. Luckily for Gwyn, such a safety measure had been put in place years ago, and so the sealers of New Londo watched stoically as water rushed into the city and thousands of innocents died by their hand.
Oh,
The
God.
entire city was sacrificed to contain them, for that is how great a threat they were.
But while Gwyn did manage to put the New Londo threat on hold, no one was prepared for the outbreak in Ulasil. I imagine when they figured out that a primeval human was buried beneath their very city, the temptation must have been too great to resist.
Believe it or not,
What do
Ulasil
they
has
do?
brought the abyss upon itself, fooled by that toothy serpent. They upturned the
Oh.
grave of primeval man and incited his ornery wrath.
Oh.
They have been thinking.
They upset
the mad
him.
pygmy king before him,
By digging him
Manus
up.
rejected death, and he was as far from peace as could be.
Oh,
The
God.
raw emotion of humanity that we mentioned earlier billowed outwards, corrupting the townsfolk of Ulasil, and Manus
bless
became
him.
the father of an unstoppable dark abyss. Curiously, though, it's almost as if he was searching for something, using his power to
The princess?
reach across time and space until he found it. Instead, he found Dusk, Princess of Ulasil.
I still think on that creature from the abyss that preyed upon me. My faculties were far from lucid, but I quite clearly sensed certain emotions. A wrenching nostalgia, a lost joy, an object of obsession, and a sincere hope to reclaim it. Could these thoughts belong to the beast from the abyss? But if that were true, then perhaps it is no beast after all.
The object of his obsession was a pendant, and with it in our possession, we're pulled back to a time
That's
where
what we
all
used
was
together.
lost.
Well, look at this one. From what faraway age hast thou come? Thy scent is very human indeed, but not intolerable.
Oh,
I am
bless her.
Elizabeth, guardian of this sanctuary. Thou shalt see further on, an abyss was begat of the ancient beast, and threatens to swallow the whole of Ulasil.
The city is lost, the abyss is spreading, and mankind has succumbed to the worst parts of their nature. When Gwyn heard of Manus and his abyss, Artorias must have been the first one sent to deal with the threat. He was, after all, the best equipped. But fighting Dark Wraiths is considerably different to the power of primeval man. So Artorias was bested and was forced to retreat.
So he fought Manus? Okay. And then he was injured, maybe?
Beset by the abyss, the final act of Artorias was to protect his companion. He shielded Sif with the divine power of his great shield. After all, his arm was broken, and he could no longer bear the burden.
Oh,
Then
that's what that
Artorias
was.
himself was overcome.
All of you, forgive me, for I have availed you nothing.
Knight Artorias came to stop this, but such a hero has nary a murmur of dark. Without
Right.
doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss, overcome by its
Oh.
utter darkness.
His arm was swinging. I never noticed that before. I had comments on my video of me facing him that told me he wasn't using his proper sword arm And now I can see his arm is limp. That's so interesting.
Indeed, the abyss may be unstoppable.
Wait. So if the abyss is unstoppable, did we not stop it then? Did we just pause it for a bit? Or does it come back later, in later games?
And yet, strangely, soon after the spread of the abyss was actually halted, and Princess Dusk of Ulasil miraculously wandered out of the abyss. Artorias' name henceforth passed into legend.
I did that.
The knight who gave his life to disperse the abyss to rescue the princess.
He lives on because of me.
This is a lie, of course.
Oh, damn it.
In reality, it is we who rescued the princess, and we fulfilled the legacy of Artorias.
This may strike thine ear as somewhat peculiar, but long ago, in my homeland of Ulasil, I was beset by a creature from the abyss. I would have perished then, were it not for the great knight Artorias.
Can you summon Sif?
In truth,
Manus?
I saw little of what transpired, for mine senses were already fled.
She believes
Even
it's
still,
Artorias.
there was something about Artorias, a certain balance of the humors that quite perfectly fits your semblance.
That's because it was us.
Could it be that?
With this, Manus' suffering has ended. But Manus wasn't the only corruption of the abyss that we killed in Ulasil. There was also Artorias. The legend of Artorias is a lie. He did not vanquish the father of the abyss. He did not eliminate the dark wraiths of New Londo. The abyss is unstoppable, and yet, eons later, the legend of Artorias would inspire a legion of abyss watchers who continue to rage against the dying of the light.
Right.
Yes, the abyss is unstoppable, but they fight nonetheless. Even in this state, notice that Artorias continues to seek out and kill corruptions of humanity. He's still in there somewhere, but his legend can only live on with his death.
We also saved Sif for him too.
Only his fellow knights knew the truth, but they would take his soul and his secret to the grave. And while Artorias' soul was corrupted by the worst of humanity, it was the best of humanity that redeemed it. And the hero of Ulasil would disappear without a trace, almost as if he didn't belong. For in reality, he didn't. And eons later, deep within an enchanted wood, behind two locked doors and a troop of forest protectors, an ancient cat speaks the truth.
The legend of Artorias art none but a fabrication. Traversing the dark, 'tis but a fairy tale.
Alvina is keen to downplay the legend of Artorias because heroes and bandits have begun seeking out his grave. They would desecrate his legacy for the secret of abyss walking, and they may do harm to Sif.
We did
who,
do harm
in fact,
to Sif.
Alvina helped you rescue back when the world was still
she
young.
did help us.
Imagine what Sif is feeling when you cross paths again years later.
God.
You're duty-bound to seek the abyss, and Sif is duty-bound to stop you.
No.
One of you will have to die, because Sif cannot give you the Covenant of Artorias willingly. Maybe
Oh, is this new?
he can find his friend Artorias again.
He's whimpering! Oh, this is sad. Sif recognized us. So is that what plays when we do the DLC first before facing Sif? Oh, that's so sad. Oh. Oh my god, what a good video. That was so cool. Oh man, that made me feel a bit teary. Every time I replay this game now, I have to face Sif, right? Whereas we need it to face the Four Kings. We need his ring. Artorias' ring. The DLC story was definitely the easiest part to understand, so I think a lot of what was in this video I kind of got already. But it was interesting to hear that Karth encouraged people to dig up Manus, and so obviously create the Abyss there. He's been working he's been working away for a long time to meddle and unleash the dark. It's really, really interesting.
2 knights, 1 soul. Siegmeyer and Sigurd of Katarina. The Knights of Dark Souls stand as symbols of their homelands. For instance, from Oscar and Solaire, we sense the valiant doom of Astora. From Oswald and Lautrec, the grim sects of Karim. Look to Petrus to glimpse the hypocrisy of Tharaland, or to the Lothric Knights for their motif of self-sacrifice. But if I ask you to imagine...
So Oscar is the first knight we see, right? I didn't know that they were from Astora. That's interesting.
But if I ask you to imagine Katarina, you should think fondly of the place. For Katarina is a land of alcohol and rejoicing, and its knights are jovial and brave. Like its neighbours, Katarina is surely crippled by the undead curse, which dooms the afflicted to endless life and to a hollow fate. But for all of its horrors, undeath affords certain opportunities. Some become motivated to seek out ancient arts, or to indulge absurd obsessions. It's no longer unreasonable to think you could reach the lands of the gods, or trigger ancient prophecies. Your morals become challenged in the face of eternity, and it's likely the ancient gods themselves who left you to this fate. But to Siegmeyer, his curse meant one simple thing: adventure. And one by one, they all learn the limits of the flesh, the limits of want, and while all of them hollow in the end, their stories remain. To be undead is to lose yourself, and an undead who loses everything becomes hollow. Rare is the sight of a human in Lordran, for Sieglind only has 1 life to lose. Despite this, she not only travels halfway across the world to get here, but also manages to traverse the length of Lordran itself, making her an awe-inspiring knight, really.
What? She did all that without dying. I didn't know she was a human. Whoa. So she went through Undeadburg, Sen's Fortress, Anor Londo, possibly, if she was looking for her father, then got captured in the Duke's archives, right?
Making her an awe-inspiring knight, really.
Oh, have you seen my father? You wouldn't miss him. A suit of armor just like mine. Oh, goodness. I knew he was here somewhere. Well then, now I must find him. Thanks again, truly. Now if we'll just stay put and keep out of trouble.
She's a small part of the life that Siegmeyer left behind, but an undead's memories fade quickly, with the oldest going first.
My daughter risked life and limb just to find me, to deliver her mother's last words. And the poor girl's not even undead. Heavens. I never asked her to do that.
He came here seeking adventure, and that's quite a pure motive, really, compared to others that grip those in Lordran. His ability to progress and explore should keep him from hollowing, just as long as obstacles can be overcome and adventure be had. However,
I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait.
Oh no.
And oh, have I waited. By my knighthood, I'm ashamed to ask, but can you spare a few scraps of moss? This is quite a fix. We'll need another 3, no, maybe 5 bodies.
Oh, we have to help him.
Indeed.
the name Siegmeyer means victory, and that is what you take from him.
The gate.
Oh no.
Was that your doing?
Oh no.
Warned. Gallantry entails great risks. Next time, give me a chance to come up with a plan. Well,
oops.
Our fates do seem entwined, don't they? Perhaps this, too, is the will of Lord Gwyn.
I don't think he would have done it without us, though.
You may well be draining his belief in himself, leading him to take one final stand.
Those monsters making life difficult for you? You need not be ashamed.
I
We're
caused
all in
that.
the same boat, you know. I really have run up quite a debt to you. Perhaps the time has
I messed this
come.
up.
It's a suicide mission to repay his friend, but you take that victory from him as well.
And now, I go. Oops. Don't be slow.
I did not see any of this. Oh my god.
Foul creatures! I am Siegmeyer of Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath!
If you allow Siegmeyer to sacrifice himself here while you escape, then he will hollow, but with his honor intact. However, the only way for him to survive here is if you save his life again.
Damn, I messed this up.
You! Didn't you get away? Well, you've saved me. Once again. Oh, thank goodness. I'm exhausted.
So this is the last time you'll see Siegmeyer alive.
My father, he went on his final adventure. Don't worry, that's just the way he is. Undead or no. Sort of reassuring, really. If he goes hollow, I'll just have to kill him again.
The name Sieglind means gentle battle. Here, she's simply jesting that she'll always be there to rein him in, even if the worst happens. And it's a joke in poor taste, for it comes true in the end.
Yes. Now I see. You are one of the bad ones. Then there's only one thing to do with you. Oh, how can this be, dear father?
Heavens, my dear little Lynn.
And so, your friend Siegmeyer meets his end in Ashlag.
Oh.
He goes to join his wife in death, and there's nothing you can do to stop him.
My father, all hollow now. He's been subdued.
What was he doing in Ashlag?
Cause no more trouble. It's finally over. Oh, father. Dear father.
Fighting the Hydra? Maybe? I don't know. Oh. I'm stopping there. I think it's about to talk about a future game, which I do not want to see yet. Do not want to see. Let me just check if that's right. Okay, yeah. Stop the video there. Nice. I'm glad I watched that video to find out about his daughter being an absolute badass. Jesus. Is anyone dressed in the armor and tried to get to where she is without dying? That'd be a cool challenge to do. I'm knackered after all that. I don't know if this video was very interesting to watch. I don't know if I watched the right Prepare to Cry series, but I've got a really bad headache. I need to go lie down. Thank you all so much for watching this and for watching my playthrough. I'm sorry if you hate this kind of video. I did put in loads and loads of effort into my playthrough, especially on the editing side of things, you know, like the invisible work that goes into videos. So I'm not trying to be a lazy YouTuber. I'm trying my best. Please do not judge me. But yeah, I'm very, very tired. I think I'm gonna have a little Souls break until maybe right at the end of the year. We'll visit a new Souls game, so keep your eyes peeled for that later on, and I hope you enjoy whatever we do next on the channel. And yeah, thank you so much everyone. See you soon.